The thick binder of standards with which your facility has to abide to encompasses everything from not only animal care and husbandry, but also vet care, from your finances to your facilities, to your maintenance team, to your supporting organizations. I mean, it's very holistic. It looks at everything. Hi, my name is Elizabeth Johnson. I'm the Director of Education and Animal Collections here at Longneck Manor, and today we're going to talk about AZA Accreditation. AZA stands for the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. They are a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to the areas of advancing scientific research, recreation, education, and also conservation. They actually were established way back in 1924. However, in the 70s, there was a growing concern for animal care within the United States, and in response to that, AZA came up with a committee that ultimately created a set of standards that they wanted their members to abide by. So in 1974, the first zoological facility was accredited by the AZA, and then in 1985, AZA actually made it mandatory for all facilities that were going to be members of the AZA to become accredited. Accreditation is a process. It is something that only over 250 facilities in the U.S. have gone through, and actually only about 10% of those facilities that are licensed by the USDA meet the standards that AZA has set within the industry. So it's a pretty big deal to be accredited by the AZA. As a visitor, whenever you visit a facility that is accredited by the AZA, you know that you are supporting a facility that is upholding really high standards of animal care and welfare, and you can be assured of that. You also know that you're supporting a facility that is dedicated to conservation education, to research and scientific advancement, all things that are important in today's world of wildlife conservation. So typically the members within the AZA community are primarily zoos and also aquariums. As Longneck Manor, when you compare what we look like and what we do to what you think of as a typical zoo or even an aquarium, you'll notice that there are a lot of differences. We're not necessarily entirely the same. We look different, we have a different model, and truly the biggest difference that you'll see at Longneck Manor is that we have overnight guests that can stay in some really awesome and cool luxury accommodations. So that makes us the biggest that is the biggest difference between us and maybe your traditional zoo. We have a really cool collection that does include primarily rhinos and giraffes. But even though we are different in those aspects of overnight guests and also a smaller collection, we're doing everything that those big facilities are doing and then some. We're dedicated to conservation education. We're supporting organizations in the field. We do a lot of educational programs, and we have some really immersive experiences for our guests that are, a couple hours in length with animal care staff, and they're really getting these individualistic kind of cultivated experiences, which is a lot different than what you might experience if you go to a zoo and aquarium. Longneck Manor earned AZA Accreditation in 2024. This is a pretty significant thing for us. The staff at Longneck Manor was really excited to earn that accreditation. We put in a lot of time and effort to that whole entire process. And knowing that we were a little bit different than the traditional facilities that have been within the AZA membership gave us even more pride to be part of that organization and obtaining that accreditation. We were only about 3 years old when we were accredited by the AZA, which is also another thing that we're really proud of, because to have been so early on in our process of establishing ourselves as a conservation organization and having guests and welcoming guests on property, to be so early on in that process and that journey and to receive that accreditation, knowing the high standards that AZA upholds, we were really proud of that. So AZA accreditation is definitely a lengthy process. All the facilities that are accredited by AZA are going through an inspection cycle about every 5 years. The thick binder of standards with which your facility has to abide to encompasses everything from not only animal care and husbandry, but also vet care, from your finances to your facilities, to your maintenance team, to your supporting organizations. I mean, it's very holistic. It looks at everything. So to be able to meet every single one of those standards is quite a feat. To go through the process, originally you submit an application with all of your SOPs and your policies and procedures, and kind of you answer all the questions that are in that application. After that's been submitted, a team of inspectors does come and visit your facility. Typically it's 3 to 4 inspectors. They come out, they spend a couple of days, they get to know the staff, they tour the facility, they meet the animals. They really are looking at everything. They ask questions. It's a pretty in-depth inspection. And after that process, they take it back to the committee, and basically there's a conversation about how well that facility is upholding the standards that AZA has put forth. Once you are granted accreditation, it's very exciting. This is usually typically done at one of the annual or mid-year meetings that AZA has, and then you're good for 5 years. So the whole entire process repeats itself every 5 years, and that's truly just to make sure that we're continually learning and expanding upon and improving on the standards that we had 5 years ago. So as a visitor to an animal care facility, the first thing you can do is look for an AZA logo. That's just going to let you know right off the bat that that facility is upholding high standards. If you can't find that, you can go onto the website. You can see what sorts of projects the facility is involved in. Are they supporting conservation? Do they have a focus on education? You can see what the staff is up to. Do the staff have backgrounds in education? Do they have experience? What is the years of experience that they've been working with animals? There's a couple of little tiny things like that that you can always do research on to make sure that you feel confident in what you're supporting is out there upholding high standards. We really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that it was a little bit informative. So if you did, like the video and also subscribe. That really helps us out, it helps you guys out, and we hope that you guys have enjoyed this content. I didn't know what I was saying at the end. I just stopped. I know, right? I don't know if I like that, but what did I say last time? And it is a non-profit organization that's now I'm in my head. Okay. I don't even know what I'm saying at that point.